yields back, I tell you what, that Hippocratic AI for nursing in particular, you touched on that. I really would like to see how far along we are with that, because that would really help. I had a nurses roundtable recently, and they talk about being overworked, and so anyway, they're fascinating. So in any case, now I'll yield my 5 minutes to not the ranking member, but Ms. Trahan, filled in for the ranking member today. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses today. I want to acknowledge the important work our civil society partners have done to call attention to the Republicans' ban on state AI regulation. To that end, I request unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter of opposition to the AI ban from the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. Without objection. I'm going to keep going. Thank you. Mr. Chairman. Unanimous consent? Yes. Yep. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. So the tech industry has been wildly successful in shaping the discourse around regulation on Capitol Hill, and it's even laid bare today. The very word regulation seems to strike fear in many of my colleagues and at least one of our witnesses. But among other arguments, they claim the specter of competition from China warrants a full deregulatory agenda, that if we approximate to any degree what the EU has done on data, privacy, online safety, antitrust, AI, we will kill waves of startups and dismantle our tech industry. But their basic premise that America must choose between digital innovation or digital regulation is fundamentally and deeply flawed. I think it's a false choice. Mr. Bragarva, I was thrilled to see General Catalyst represented on today's panel. General Catalyst has fueled tremendous growth in the greater Boston area and indeed across the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You've been an entrepreneur, an advisor, an investor for many years now. As you see it, what roles do features like high-skill immigration, basic science research, and lenient bankruptcy laws play in fostering tech innovation?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the kind words. It is true, General Catalyst has been around 25 years, and we started in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and still have an office and strong presence there. Absolutely. I think there was a reason we started in Cambridge. It was right down the street from Harvard and MIT. And so the funding for those sorts of institutions and for startups and for research grants is extremely key. Another part that's key as well is if you look at the Fortune 500 here in the United States, 46% are founded by immigrants or children of immigrants. One of the biggest advantages we have over China is that we attract the smartest people in the world to our universities and to build companies here. So I think a lot of what you mentioned is absolutely true, and I agree with your sentiment that there has to be regulation as well. And I'm here today to try to advise on what regulatory frameworks at the federal level could be meaningful to protecting consumers.
Thank you. I mean, the innovation equation is complex, as you indicated. It's got a heck of a lot of variables, certainly doesn't depend only on regulation. And the U.S. government has deliberately pursued an innovation agenda dating back to World War II. We invest heavily in basic science research. Our founder-friendly immigration policies import the best and brightest from overseas. Our lenient bankruptcy laws and cultural tolerance for risk-taking create an environment hospitable to startups. The EU has not pursued these policies to the same degree, and research suggests those decisions play a larger role in explaining why Europe doesn't have its own Google, Apple, or Meta. It is therefore false and disingenuous to blame EU's tech regulation for its low number of major tech firms. The story is much more complicated. But just as the EU may have something to learn from United States innovation policy, we'd be wise to study their approach to protecting consumers online. Mr. Bragarva, in your testimony, you stress the need for a governance framework that, quote, promotes safety, protects fundamental rights, and is transparent. I've long emphasized the benefits of transparency in protecting consumers' privacy and online safety, as well as providing a foundation for sensible, responsible policy making. Can you briefly discuss what meaningful transparency requirements for AI systems would look like?
Absolutely. It is true that Europe has many fragmented markets. In fact, I think Europe has 24 official languages. So there's a lot of complexity to why it's been difficult to make large tech companies there. But I do think one of the elements has also been regulation. So it's not a either or, in my opinion, but it's a combination of structural challenges Europe has faced, as well as, in many cases, too much regulation. We have prominent AI companies in Europe that we've backed, and they've faced audits where they were asked to audit 3 models. They sent materials to the auditors, and they waited over a year and never really heard back. So there is also within Europe certainly a guise of trying to do more regulation, but then there hasn't necessarily been a response to our companies. So happy to provide the panel with more examples within Europe of where regulation has hurt our companies, but it is absolutely fair to say that it's a really plethora of factors that has held Europe back, not solely regulation.
And I think that we can learn a lot from Europe's going first on so many of this. I mean, I think just like privacy and online safety, I believe this Congress has the means to pass a national AI framework that provides robust protections for Americans and regulatory clarity for innovators. The question is, will we do it? So will we learn from our international partners as we craft regulations that protect our constituents from AI harms? And I'm out of time. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.